What up, Dope Pride Nation? Welcome to Luke G's Field Review. We are back at it again today with a special guest. This time we are on with someone who I think y'all are going to truly enjoy, because not only does he talk about not only does he talk about the Detroit Lions, he talks about all 32 football teams. And what you're going to like about that is not only does he talk about what you're going to like about that is he also talks about batting. So without further ado, I'll introduce the man himself. We are talking to Mr. AndrewsFootball. What up, though, Andrew?
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here on the show. I'm ready to talk some football. I'm ready to talk some Lions. We could talk some Chiefs. I'm ready to just talk some football, and I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah, man, you know, it's crazy because, like, you hit me up and you was like, hey, I want to be on the show. And so we worked it together and stuff. But I got to do my house business first, Andrew. I always shout out to people who are in the chat. And first thing I want to do is to say congratulations to the Spartans, Michigan State Spartans, for making it to the Final Four. I am very excited that they have made it to the Final Four, and it's exciting. So we got John Hennon in the chat. What up, though? We got Sean Parker. What up, though? We got Beast Mode, D. Williams, Bug Spray, Andrew Merkling. I probably said that wrong. My apologies, man. George Morgan. We got Greg Gore. We got the first black man on the net. What up, though, fellas? Listen, we got a lot to talk about. And one of the things that we're going to talk about and address is going to be our Detroit Lions, for one. And y'all may not notice, but Andrew is a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so he's going to give you another outside look at it. Now, I see Greg Gore already trying to start the beef with the Go Blue, but you know, right? You know, I'm not going to hate on y'all. Y'all did y'all best, and we are in the Final Four, so there's not much to say with that. We got Tone of Voice. What up, though? He says, I said, what up, though, Luke? It ain't been name change, but I'm still here rocking with you, bro. For sure, man. I appreciate it. So, Andrew, man, listen. The first thing that I want to bring up off rip, man, is because I know for a fact that you know, people want to know what your outside look is. Let's start off with Mr. Matthew Stafford. What is your opinion of Matthew Stafford?
Man, you hit a great subject here, because I'm going to tell you something. All right, now we got Patrick Mahomes. All right, we're very happy with Mahomes, right? But here's the thing: if you would have told me before we got Mahomes, you would have said, "Hey, look, Dan, I'm going to tell you what. You give us Alex Smith and a first-round draft pick for Matthew Stafford, I'm running because I'm doing that in a heartbeat. I'm doing that immediately."
Andrew, I don't mean to cut you off, but they're saying that you're not clear, so you might be too close to your mic.
All right. Hey, what about now? Can you guys hearing me okay? You guys hearing me okay?
Let me see. Hopefully we fixed it. Yeah, because. All right, so they haven't responded yet, so I don't think they're hearing.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Here, I'm seeing the comments here, and I'm gonna tell you something right now. All right, no, you can't hear me.
No, they can hear you now. You sound
okay. Better. I just thought there goes Norby saying you can't hear me. So,
right. So now, now we can get back to it. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, you saying that. If at the time that y'all had Alex Smith, if they would have said give a first and Alex Smith up, you would have
I would have jumped on that in a heartbeat. I don't understand why you guys have a problem with Matthew Stafford. This is a guy who I think, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna list, and everybody who's listening now, get out a piece of paper, get out a pencil. I'm gonna list you everything that's wrong with Matthew Stafford. All right, I got a long list here. Here's what I got. He's not Aaron Rodgers. That's it. I mean, okay, yeah, that's it. He's not Aaron Rodgers. That's the only thing wrong. Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. I fell in love with this kid his rookie year. You remember that game against Cleveland?
Yeah.
You remember that game? Cleveland got up 24-3. He leads them back, dislocates his shoulder, comes back on the field, throws that winning touchdown.
Wow.
I mean, so this guy tough. The guys played 8 years without missing a game. Arm strength. Now I got Patrick Mahomes over here, but I mean, what throw can he make? What throw can he make?
And you know what's funny about it? It's funny because when I tell people that other fan bases and other organizations coveted Matthew Stafford. Our fan base say things like, "Oh, it's on the quarterback," and I'm like, I hate this belief that win-loss records can go to quarterbacks. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that should be the case.
Who's your running back? Who's your running back? Would you guys got an offensive line? I mean, the guy's got nothing. Hey, by the way, Lions fan 75. We're gonna hit up on that because I love that signing. By the way, he was over in Denver.
I'm definitely gonna address that.
Oh yeah, he was over in Denver, and I was glad he was gone because that guy can play.
And you know what's funny? Though? Like right now, like we got Greg Gore who says Stafford only scores in garbage time. Prevent D.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something. Okay, no, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off, man.
One of the things. What's popping, Dre? One of the things that I wanted to point out that I thought was very interesting in terms of Matthew Stafford is they say, well, he do this stuff in garbage time, and I look at the numbers and I'm like, when did the garbage time start? Because they would have to be from the first quarter. If he's doing all this in the fourth, that's even more reason why he's a pretty good quarterback. And so, appreciate it, Noble. But it's even more reason that I see that people don't, they don't want to say it. But I'm like, if he's doing all that in garbage time, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me, because to me, what it tells me is that the Detroit Lions are they got something for the first time at the quarterback position. They just got to put the other things around them. So but for you like Stafford though.
Oh, I love Stafford. When I look at the Lions, I'm seeing a team that really needs to help Stafford out. You got problems on the offensive line. The guy takes way too many hits. You had problems at the running back. And I'm just saying that as a Chiefs fan, before Patrick Mahomes came here, we were hoping that you guys were going to trade Stafford to us. And I'm not just talking from the Kansas City Chiefs perspective. I'm talking other teams. Trust me, the Denver Broncos would give you the 10th pick right now for Stafford. They would.
Listen, I already know what it is. Again, we are on with fellow YouTuber AndrewsFootball. If you're looking for fantasy stuff, or you're looking to make bets and you want to just kind of know that ins and out, you definitely want to check out his channel. I do have it linked in my description, and it's a lot that we're gonna be talking about. So when I tell you this, I know I sent you a video because I wanted you to have a look at the Detroit media and how they approach Matthew Stafford. What did you think about that video?
I was shocked. I was shocked. If you would have done this, if you had sent this to me for April Fool's Day, I would have thought you playing a prank on me. I cannot believe how you guys don't love this kid. And here's the thing. Okay, I'm telling you what. Something. I'm 44 here. I'm kind of an old man here. I'm gonna tell you something. Back in, I maybe got the year wrong. It's either 90 or 91. You guys drafted the quarterback in the first round. Everybody said it was a great fit. It's a perfect offense for him. What did Andre Ware do?
Yeah.
That's what you're getting. There's first round draft. If you want to draft a quarterback in the first round, you want to replace Stafford, what are you going to get? You're not going to get somebody as good as Stafford, not in this draft.
And here's the thing. That was the question that I said. When I hear the media be like, "Oh, they should have traded Stafford to the Dolphins," and I'm thinking, and get who?
That's what I'm looking at.
With the amount of punishment he takes and keeps getting up from,
oh man,
who are they supposed to go after?
You know what? I had it up, and so I don't have the exact numbers. I took it off my screen here, but over the last 5 years, the guy's been sacked over 40 times.
Yeah,
you guys got some problems on your offensive line. The problem's not in quarterback position.
And you know what? I totally agree with you. I said the same thing. I'm like, to me, we've had some other issues, but I don't think the quarterback position is one of them.
No.
And I know some people disagree. I don't begin to think of it. But here's the thing: we got some people asking you some questions. Okay, all
right. Hey, I want to tell you something.
It says that from Beast Mode, it says they traded Eric Murray for Agba
I'm going to tell you something. Hey, Beast Mode, I'm glad you said that because I love the trade because Eric Murray wasn't doing anything for us. He's a guy that we really didn't want. We drafted him because he played corner. And we're going to try to use him at corner. Couldn't play corner in the NFL. Not all corners on the college level can play in NFL corner. So we tried him at safety. The guy just couldn't. The guy didn't work. We were actually going to cut him. We got the better of that deal because I love Agba. All right. This guy's I watched him play at Oklahoma State here, and this guy is a pure 4-3 defensive end. Well, Cleveland drafted him, say, he's a 285-pound linebacker. Well, that's a mistake on Cleveland's part. It's one of many mistakes on Cleveland's part.
It's so funny you say that because you know what? When I saw that they drafted him and made him an outside linebacker, I was dumbfounded. Like, why would you do that?
Man, you read my mind. I couldn't figure that out either, but Cleveland did a lot of real questionable things. But this guy, he's going to come in, and right now we're saying he's going to compete. I think he's going to be a starter. So we got rid of a guy who we were probably going to cut, and we got potential starter.
I totally agree with that. Let me ask you this because I know that there's another question there that said the Chiefs better draft all defense because right now it's looking real suspect. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you what, we actually did that last year. If you look at our draft, we drafted all defense, and this is kind of a thing about Andy Reid, and this is something I've been trying to educate people here in Kansas City because they're wanting us to trade up to draft a defensive player. This is an Andy Reid staple. He doesn't like rookies. He doesn't like rookies. And I'll tell you what, just for fun here, I'll do this fast here, so I'm not taking up time here. If you look at every single draft pick, the first draft pick, and this doesn't include Kareem Hunt, because if Spencer Ward didn't get injured, Kareem Hunt would have been backup.
True.
All right. But check this out. Eric Fisher, he started over on the right side. We already had Brandon Albert. So we were drafting for next year. And what happened next year? He switched over to the left side. D Ford, his rookie year, he had 7 tackles.
See?
He didn't even play. Now Marcus Peters was the exception, but we wanted him to replace Sean Smith, who left after that year, and he became the #1 starter. Chris Jones, Chris Jones, who set an NFL record for 11 straight games with a sack. You know what he did his rookie year? 28 tackles, 2 sacks. That's it. Andy Reid doesn't like playing rookies. You know what he did after that? He traded for Patrick Mahomes, who didn't play as a rookie. And then last year we got Breland Speaks, who had 1.5 sacks and 24 tackles. Andy Reid's smart. He's going to draft for a 2020 starter. He's not going to draft for 2019. So a lot of people in Chiefs Kingdom are thinking that, hey, we're going to draft. No. We're going to fix the defense through free agency and trades, just like we did with Agba and just like we did with the Honey Badger.
Right. So let me ask you this, because the people want to talk about it. Today the Detroit Lions signed running back C.J. Anderson to a 1-year deal.
That's a good move.
And I personally love the move. When the Lions signed, what is his name? Malcolm Brown from the Rams, and they gave him that 2-year deal, I knew right then and there that they was not going to draft a running back because they got him. Then what I started noticing was that once the Rams matched it, I got excited because I knew that if they get a guy like C.J. Anderson, they're still going to draft a running back. And I said C.J. Anderson would be on a 1-year rental. Why do you think that the Lions signing C.J. Anderson is a good move in your opinion, as an outsider looking in?
I'm going to tell you something. I got to watch C.J. Anderson as a Denver Bronco, and this guy is a load. This guy is a big guy with balance. He's not going to have those 50, 60-yard runs. All right. If you think you're getting a home run threat, you're mistaken. This is a great move. And this is one of the reasons why I'm really high on the Detroit Lions, because they're going old school here, which I love. All right. They're becoming a physical smash mouth team. And this is another reason why I like Stafford. I mean, because here's what you're going to do. You run the ball, you do that play action pass, boom. That's 6 points. And also love what you're doing on your defense too. But C.J. Anderson for a 1-year deal, this is a great move. this is a great move, and I'm with you because there's some good running backs that are going to be available in rounds 3, 4, and 5, and the Lions are going to take one. They may take two. They may get 2 running backs in this draft, but it'll be a crazy draft here.
Now, the Lions fan 75 says, do you think the Lions were trying to finesse the Rams to cut Anderson for them to keep Brown? I personally don't think that was the case. What up, though, Crimson? I am going to respond to your email, man. I ain't forgot about you. But I don't think that's the case. I think what happened was they basically said, okay, if you're going to keep Malcolm Brown, then we're going to take your other asset. And like you, Andrew, I totally agree. When I watched C.J. Anderson, and I remember telling people this, and I said, go back and look at that year that they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. I said, Peyton Manning was horrible. He was absolutely horrible. Yeah. But they didn't have an answer for C.J. Anderson. And then even when you go through and you look at the Rams game against the Cowboys, C.J. Anderson went crazy.
Exactly.
And on top of that, I just look at it and I say, you want somebody who can pound up the good yards and bounce it outside. And so the thing that stood out to me was that, I would have liked to have Isaiah Crowell, but I was like, the best replacement would be C.J. Anderson because he's exactly what we need, and it's a really good signing. Now, I see some comments in here. It says, John Martin said, I had him on my fantasy team that year and was killing. I mean, good job. Technical Jeff says, Anderson said he's going to be in way better shape than last year, too. Yeah, I think what people realize is C.J. Anderson was called off the street, and I think he was contemplating retiring.
He wasn't ready. He's going to lose those 30 pounds. He's going to come in great shape because he knows he's going to play, not really playing for this year. He's playing for next year because he's going to try to get that contract, which is good for Lions fans.
I can tell you this much. For me personally, I just love the whole C.J. Anderson signing because, again, it's a quality free agent who can carry the load if C.J. is slowed down. He's not going to be like LeGarrette Blount trying to dance knowing that you can't do it. So for me, it was a good signing. Now, let's talk about this draft because I'm seeing some draft questions come in as well. And I see Bug Spray says he respects the Lions more than most Lions fans. So, I mean, give you some love. Now, again, we are talking to Andrew of Andrew's Football, a place where you can go and get fantasy questions answered. You can, if you're a person who like to bet, you might want to check out his channel. It is linked in my description. Now, here's my question. Let's talk about this. All right. Who do you see the Lions drafting, from your opinion?
I'll tell you what. And here's the thing. I did a mock draft, and I'm not doing trades in my draft, but I personally would love to see the Lions trade down. Yeah, that's how I feel. But I think what they need to do is work on that offensive line. I was a little surprised when they drafted Ragnow in the first round last year. I thought it was a bad move. I really did. I was like, you could have got him in the second round, but he ended up being a good player. So
yeah, and the rumor was the Bengals was going to select him with the next pick.
The Bengals ended up taking that Ohio State, and his name.
Right. But their first pick was going to be Ragnow. Mm-hmm. They wasn't even going to let him make it to the second.
Yeah. So, and you know what? The Lions made the right choice because that guy ended up being injured almost all year for Cincinnati. So I think they're going to double dip, and I think they're going to go offensive line. But I'd be surprised if they did it at 8. I'd be really surprised if they go offensive line at 8.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be the tight end. I still think at 8 they're going to take the tight end. It's just everything in me tells me because when I go through and I got a suggestion from one of the subscribers for some shows, and I'm gonna definitely do those because I think they're a good one. But I don't think they'll go O-line at 8. I think if they trade down, O-line is on the table. But for the most part, I believe they're going to trade that pick. But if they don't, I think the tight end will be the pick. Now, I know you mock draft them. You had them mock to take who on your mock draft?
I got Cody Ford, and I'll tell you why. I think Cody Ford, you plug and play him right at guard, and he has the same type of effect Quentin Nelson did with the Colts.
Now,
I think you're getting the same type of player.
He said that Cody Ford at 8 will not upset him not one bit. So he's liking that.
Oh yeah, this guy would be a Pro Bowl guard right away, and that's what I love. Now here's the thing. I gotta say this because I love TJ Hawkinson. I love him. I love him. I'd love it if he was a Chief. I don't see the Lions taking him at 8.
Why not?
I think it's too high. And I'll tell you why, because I love the player. But he's not an elite athlete. And I don't think he's a guy who's going to make that much of a difference at 8. I think he'd be a great player. But I don't know if he's going to be that type of player that you take at 8. And that's just my opinion. My mock draft, I have him sliding all the way to 20.
Really?
Oh yeah.
See, I think if he gets past Detroit, he's definitely getting picked up by the Green Bay Packers. There are too many teams who need a tight end this year.
You know what? The thing about Green Bay, they re-signed. They still got Jimmy Graham. They re-signed Mercedes Lewis, and I don't know the other two, but they got 4. They got 4 tight ends on the roster. I'd be hard pressed to see them take one.
Well, see, here's the thing. I spent a lot of time stalking our interview sections with the Detroit Lions coaches and general manager. And one thing that I kept noticing that they was talking about is when they evaluate tight ends, they're looking to see who has their hand in the dirt, how they block, how they run routes, how they catch in traffic. And when they was talking, the more they talked, the more I was like,
more they like TJ.
It sounds like TJ.
And you know what? I feel bad because this is probably this is hands down my favorite tight end in the draft. And every time I watch him, I love this kid. Like I said, I'd love if the Chiefs picked him up. And let me ask you something here. Okay, I'm a Chiefs fan, obviously. So maybe I'm a homer here, but it's right now with Gronk retiring, we got the best tight end in football. Am I just being a homer here?
That's fair to say. Yeah, I think Travis Kelce is definitely the best tight end with Gronk out. Yeah, I mean, but to be honest with you, I thought he was better than Gronk. I think Gronk had the height advantage over him, but I thought he was, in terms of the explosiveness, being able to get open and stuff, I thought he was the best thus far for me personally.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I just didn't want to come across as a homer here. But when I look at the NFL right now, I think that we got the best tight end in football. And that said, if Hawkinson's somehow available at 29, I want him. So I feel like I'm talking bad on the guy. But here's the thing, man. I love this kid. By the way, Risky, I remember O.J. Howard. I loved O.J. Howard. I'm really surprised that hasn't worked out right now.
Well, you know what? You got to understand too, and see. Like I said, you couldn't have a better person because, like I said, I am a Lions fan, but I do also like the Bucks and the Seahawks, and I just kind of been that way since I was a kid. And when I watched O.J. Howard on the Bucks, I can't tell you how many times I've watched Jameis Winston just overthrow him, underthrow him, and then they throw in somebody like Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he can hit him every single time, and it's mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling.
Well, Winston's a guy needs some work.
Yeah, he needs to work on his mechanics a whole lot. So
that's something that they're going to do.
Let me ask you this though. In terms of, I know we were talking earlier about what Vegas has in terms of the odds, and so I wanted you to kind of like talk to the viewers and tell them about the odds and what Vegas have and what you think. And this is for you people who bet. Okay,
all right.
If you're betting people, you're gonna want this information because matter of fact, I'll let him tell you. Tell him your profit when you bet.
All right, here's the deal, and this is my thing. I went to Vegas in 2017 and I placed multiple bets, ended up making 152% profit on the NFL. So what I do is I like taking the over-unders, and that's where you can make your money at. And this is the reason why I want to come in here and I want to talk to you Lions fans, because it got released that the over-under for wins for Detroit Lions is 7.
Okay.
And Vegas hates the Lions. Right. So I think that number is going to drop to 6.5. All right. I love the over for the Lions. So you guys tell me, I mean, everybody thinks that the over under is going to be about 6 or 7 wins for the Detroit Lions. I don't see that at all. I'm seeing a team that's about an 8-9 win team, maybe 10. And yeah, that's what I'm seeing here, Travis. I'm taking the over all day. To me, this is a money-making opportunity. So I'm trying to find some Lions fans. And are you guys seeing something I'm not seeing?
Yeah, I think what you're seeing is Vegas is going off of previous history, I think. And I think what you see with the Lions fans, we're seeing the direction what the Lions is going. Now, Greg Gore says Vegas is about right at 7, but I think it's going to be well over 7. I think it's going to be well over 7 wins.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is an opportunity that if you want to put some action down on the NFL, I think being placing action on the Detroit and over 7, I think it's a smart move. And I'll ask this question here, Justice. You can go to different gambling sites. I like to actually go to Vegas. I make a whole vacation of it. Pick somewhere on the strip, man. Have some fun down there. Put some action down the Lions and collect.
Now, Justice says, bro, the Lions schedule this year is tough as HELL. Now, here's the thing, Justice. let me say this to you. The way that I rate people's schedules are based on when they play. So, for example, the NFL has done some things that have always irritated me. Like, for example, they would have, say, a West Coast team travel east for a Thursday night game. And then the following week, they'll have them stay east and play that Sunday game. But then that very next Sunday, they'll say, okay, well, we'll have you travel west and you're going to play the earlier game. And I think when they do stuff like that, that's why you see that strength of the schedule stuff coming in. Like I've talked to Andrew, and I told him, I said, hey, if we play Kansas City in the earlier part of the year, I'm counting that as a win. But if you're telling me that that's a game at the end of the year, I ain't gonna be so high on that. So I don't know if I can say that the schedule is tough or not.
100% correct on that. If we play the Detroit Lions in Detroit earlier in the year, and I love the Chiefs, and we're ramping up for a Super Bowl push. All right, it's Super Bowl or bust here. But if we play you guys early in the year, I think that's a loss. I'm actually betting on Detroit because more than likely, because right now everybody's in love with Patrick Mahomes. Vegas, for the first time in a long time, really loves Kansas City. We'll probably go there and be about 7.5, maybe 8-point favorite. I'm taking Detroit. I'm taking Detroit big time. Justice, you're right. You guys play. I'm gonna tell you something though. If you give Andy Reid a chance to figure out this Matt Patricia defense, we play you guys in December. Good luck.
Right, and that's my fear.
Guys in September, I think the Lions beat us.
See, and that's my fear. My fear is when we play them. If you tell me we playing y'all like in that first quarter, see, I break the season up in quarters. I do the first 4 games, the second 4 games, the third 4 games, and so on. And so if you tell me we get the Chiefs in that first 4 games, yeah, because the one thing I look at is when I go back and I watch how Kansas City lost to the Patriots, I said, what did the New England Patriots do? They ran the ball.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Not only did they run the ball, Patrick Mahomes has a weakness, and teams are going to exploit this. All right, because 2 of those sacks in that AFC Championship game, one thing that Patrick Mahomes has to do is when he gets pressure, he loves to go to the outside.
Right.
Well, they sacked Mahomes 4 times. 2 of those sacks, the defensive end just flared out on the flat, and Mahomes just ran right into him. Because they figured out one of Mahomes' weaknesses, and that's something that teams are going to figure out also, and that's something Patrick Mahomes is going to work on.
And I think Crimson Shadow brings up a good point. He said it was like if we played the Dolphins earlier, advantage them, but Buffalo late advantage them, right? Because think about it. If you telling me like, oh, we got to play hypothetically, let's say our last 4 games are all road games. And they're Green Bay, Chicago, Kansas City, and Philly. Well, we in trouble. Now, I do want to address the chat because I do answer him. I see we got Ted. Ted is asking Sweat or Oliver. Oliver all day over Sweat. And Ted, I don't know how long you've been subscribed. But people know that I'm not with the Montez Sweat train. That is a joke. But I don't see us taking either of those 2 guys. I just don't. I don't, because you got to keep in mind that the Lions are not the Lions of the old, so they're not going to carry a lot of D tackles. And Oliver will probably be more like a 3-tech. Probably but they want somebody with a little bit more versatility, in my opinion.
No, I'll tell you what. Me and you are on the same boat about Sweat. I think this is a guy that's going to get overdrafted and underproduce. And one thing about Oliver is that everybody keeps on talking about how disruptive he was, but here he was. He's playing at Houston, right? This isn't even a Power 5 conference. In 3 years, he had 13.5 sacks.
And you know what's funny about that? it's not even the sacks. Whenever I see those low sack numbers, I start to look and say, okay, what are they doing in the tackles for a loss? And that's where I thought to question it. I know I've been high on the Khalil Hodge train, and I know some people's like, oh, you're crazy, you're not gonna be happy unless we get. No, it's not that.
Hey man, he looked good in the Chiefs uniform. Hey man, he looked good in Chiefs uniform. We need some speed, man.
Listen, don't be bringing that guy up on your page, but we don't need this kind of heat. But listen, I'm just saying, I think that a lot of times when I watch something, the first thing I'm looking for is a football player. I don't care about the workout warriors because I've been burned with the Vernon Ghostins, the Jarvis Jones, the Aaron Currys, and I even saw it earlier in the chat where somebody was like they had Aaron Curry rated higher than Stafford, and I'm just like, okay, these are the things that people don't see, but it's like, hey, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you can get somebody that is going to be comparable to what you're going to do. Who do you see your Kansas City Chiefs selecting in the draft, though?
Well, I'm going to tell you something here, and Chiefs fans actually hate this pick here. The Chiefs absolutely hate this, but one thing about the Kansas City Chiefs, they're always drafting for next year. And the way we got this contract set up with Sammy Watkins, he's going to be gone after this yeyear.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. The way the contract's set up, he's going to be gone. And somebody mentioned earlier about Tyreek Hill. It's been kind of hush hush on all the talk about Tyreek Hill. So we really don't know what's going on. But I got the Chiefs right now with the first pick. I'm taking Hakeem Butler, the wide receiver out of Iowa State.
Oh, that would be nasty.
Oh yeah, you get a red zone threat this year, but Andy Reid hates rookies, so he's not going to see a lot of playing time. But you just wait, because when Watkins leaves, this guy's a plug and play guy, and Andy Reid gets creative with his receiver, so he's probably going to be a guy who won't produce much this year, but he'll have some touchdowns just on that 6'6" frame alone.
Well, check this out, because I wanted to talk about this too, because I saw this article and I was hoping that this was not true. I don't know how true this was, but I saw this article and it said that Patrick Mahomes, not this year, but the year after this year, is projected to get $243 million deal.
I said that he was going to get about 5-year 200, but it would not surprise me if he's going to get. One thing about the Kansas City Chiefs, they'll pay our quarterbacks. And that's kind of the reason why, if you've been guys been paying attention, that's one of the reasons why we got rid of Justin Houston. It's one of the reasons why we got rid of Eric Berry. It's one of the reasons why we didn't match what San Francisco was going to pay D Ford, because we're trying to get ready for that $250 million paycheck that we're going to give Patrick Mahomes. That payday's coming. He's going to be the highest paid player in the NFL very soon.
And I think that's why they let so many of those other players walk. Now here's a comment that got my attention from Bush 308. It says, "I take Sweat over Hawk." Bush, listen, I'm getting ready to open the phone lines up. You got to call in and explain this one to me.
Hey man, Bush, I'll tell you what, man. I think you got two people in there, Ron, that are going to disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from. You get that great athleticism over a guy. That 4.71 time, I think, really hurt his stock. But man, hey man, Luke, you tell me, man. I mean, I think Hawkinson's going to be a great player.
He says, laughing out loud, it was a joke. Yeah, April Fool on me.
Oh man, you got us. You got me anyway.
Don't come in and start that stuff. What up, though, Marcus? Don't come in and start it. I'm like, you gonna take Sweat over Hawk? What he say? Okay.
Oh man, he got me. Hey man, hey Bush, you got me, man.
But here's the thing, though. For those people who want to ask questions to Andrew in terms of betting, or who want to ask questions to him, in terms of the Lions or the Kansas City Chiefs, maybe y'all looking at some fantasy questions, I'm going to open the lines up right now so y'all can call in and ask him some questions, because I'm telling you, you're never going to see Luke do fantasy. Luke G got a love-hate relationship with fantasy sports. So you're not going to see too much fantasy with Luke G.
Man, I'm not a fantasy fan myself, but if I can help you win your fantasy league, let me know. I'll do some research for you, but I don't play. I'm retired from that.
I mean, and Bush is really excited. He got him. He's he excited that he got it. I was like, what did he just say? So the phone number is 248-294-0610. That's 248-294-0610. Again, call in and let's talk about it. Now, I've already shouted out those Spartans. I am very excited for the Michigan State Spartans on making it to the Final Four. Even if the Michigan fans want to hate the Spartans, which you can't hate it, they beat the best team in the tournament. So you know, that's one other thing. Now, let me ask you this. There was even some talks. I know that we talk about this, and there was even some talks that Tyreek Hill might be suspended.
That is correct. And everything's been hush-hush on our side. Everybody knows the deal where, you know, before he was drafted, the fight with his, you know, at the time pregnant girlfriend, he got physical with her. He actually paid for that. So that's not part of the NFL conduct policy. All right.
Right.
What happened is his 3-year-old son has a broken arm. And apparently it's something to do with him or his wife. The details are really murky here. And right now the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs are really staying quiet on this. Now, here's the thing. If he hurt some kid, no punishment's severe enough. But I think a lot of people out there, and I don't have kids myself, but if you got a young kid, you know, kids get bumps, bruises. It happens. If this is something innocent that got blown up because of his past, then he's going to get a lot of money. And by the way, somebody asked here if he's worth a first-round pick in fantasy. If he's playing, take him early because he's going to have a big year.
Well, let me ask you this. And also, I want people to know that if you see the CP GM Drew, what up, though, man? Welcome to the show. That is from the Couch Potato GM, general manager. So that it's a very wonderful channel. Y'all should definitely check them out. We're going to probably be doing something in the future. But his question is Jay Glazer says he was hearing that they may be trading Tyreek Hill. Have you heard anything in that? I mean, you literally in the thick of that meeting.
I'm right in the thick of it, and that's a rumor I heard, but I'm not putting a lot of stock in that because, to be honest, the Kansas City Chiefs organization's actually been head over heels in love with Tyreek Hill. He's done everything that's asked of him. When you look at Tyreek Hill, you got a guy who's not, like I said, I'm a Chiefs fan, so maybe I'm too much of a homer here, but is he not the best punt returner in the NFL?
I mean, think about this. I mean, in terms of that one cut and gone, yeah, he has.
And then he also had 14 receiving touchdowns.
So the number again is 248-294-0610. You know, so that's what that is. 248-294-0610.
Hey, by the way, here, Ted, that Devin Bush, I'm very high on Devin Bush. I don't know if you guys are Michigan's fans, but he's a guy I think is going to have a really good pro career. I got him going higher than a lot of other people. I actually got Cincinnati taking him at 11.
Oh, wow.
I know. Yeah. I got him going high, but I got Devin White already gone, and I think the Bengals really need some speed and athleticism at the linebacker department. So I'm very high on Devin Bush. I'm a lot higher than a lot of other people.
Yeah, see, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me because my issue with Devin Bush is, and I think this is important for any linebacker, is you have to be able to get off blocks. And when I watch Devin Bush, he just tries to run around the block. But when that blocker get a hand on you, it's all bad for David.
That's one negative that I got to give you. But I love the athleticism. I love the speed. I love the guy. I think I see a guy who can play all three downs.
All right. Well, we got a call coming in. Let's take that.
All right.
What up, Dawn? Welcome to Luke G's Field Review. Who this?
Luke G, what up, though? This Frank Lucas, right? This Logic, though, man.
What up,
Logic
though?
Son, man, the tough critic.
I see, man. You changed the name to Frank Lucas and everything.
Man, listen, man. I'm on other phones. I'm out of town right now. Hey, listen, man.
Okay.
I heard y'all talking about T.J. Hockenson, right?
Right.
Now, listen. Why do y'all think they gonna get T.J. Hockenson, knowing they just signed Jesse James, knowing that Jesse James, a bigger caliber type of tight end like Rob Gronkowski, and y'all all saw the press conference when he said he felt like how he gonna be integrated into the system? Why do you think they gonna go get another tight end?
Well, when you go and look at the previous history of the Seattle Seahawks, they always carry 3 to 4 tight ends. When you go and look at the previous history of the New England Patriots, they always carry 3 to 4 tight ends, and they generally use those. They generally use those sets to create bigger packages to open up lanes for their runners. So when I go through and I look at the Lions right now, and I see Jesse James and I see Michael Roberts, and then they just picked up Logan Thomas, who is not a blocker; he's a receiving tight end. I don't see that extra tight end who can kind of give you that wild card, that joker, where they can do a little bit of everything, and it's harder to game plan for that. So that's why I still see that pick being the most valued pick.
So listen, let me ask you a quick question, because it seemed like a wasted pick when you got Pharaoh in there, you got the Baker guy. I like the greedy guy, but Baker looked better. Some of the people that I saw you put up, I seen was better than Greedy, bro. Like,
Greedy real suspect. Greedy is real suspect.
So why would you think that Matt Patricia would take a chance on like getting a tight end, knowing that he's building this defense right now?
Because if you look at what the Lions have done so far, they literally built the defense through the draft. I mean, through the free agency, and then they're going to add a few. Right. They're going to add a few sprinkle pieces throughout the draft, and then what you're going to see is the little few sprinkle players that they're going to add in the draft is going to come in like round 2nd or 3rd. The thing is, if they can't trade out of 8 and you're just looking at them getting a pick that's going to be right and it's going to be safe, it's going to be TJ Hockenson. I mean, when you look at last year's draft, nobody, and I mean nobody, had them taking Frank Ragnow. But in the end, it was the right pick.
I agree with you on that.
So I think what you're seeing is they are building it, but you also have to understand that they went out, they signed the former Cincinnati Bengals running back coach. They brought in Darrell Bevel, a offensive coordinator who can make adjustments on the fly and who can set up a game plan for run and pass if need be. And then on top of that, you go and look at the New England Patriots way, they run the ball first and foremost. They run the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, all the signs point to that the only thing that's missing is a blocking tight end. And when you go and look at New England, when they had their worst rushing years, they didn't have a blocking tight end. So they went out and got Rob Gronkowski. Then they turned around and said, we need another blocking tight end. They added Hernandez. And then they said, well, we still need another blocking tight end. They went out and added Dwayne Allen. So they kept bringing in blocking tight ends. It's just sometimes you got to just look at the history to see the Patriots way and to see the direction that they're going. They're trying to get back to that 1991 run the ball first style.
Exactly. Luke G, man, I love you, man.
Hey, man, I love you right back, man. I appreciate it.
I'm calling in, man. Listen, I live this shit, man. I wish you would see. I hope CJ. I watched a video. CJ said y'all got that shit fixed, man. Yeah, y'all the only 2 people I love, bro. Y'all keep the shit real, bro.
Man, I want to hear that fake
ass shit.
Well, listen, me and CJ.
I'm in Kentucky right now, bro. I'm in Kentucky right now. They mad. They praise us because we beat Duke. You know they lost to Duke. They first game.
Right.
They just happy Michigan State beat Duke. You hear me? Trust me.
We are. Well, listen, I can tell you this much, man. I have been in contact with CJ. We are working it out, just trying to get our schedules nailed down, and we are going to do a show together. I saw that question also come up from John Martin. So yes, we are still planning on doing a show. But I appreciate you calling in, man.
I love all y'all, man. Noble, Dion, man. Listen. I love all y'all, bro. I live this shit every fucking day, bro. Every day I hope I type in Detroit Lions, bro. I hope to see one of y'all videos every day, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Listen, hit us back up too, man. You know what I'm saying? And we can chat it up, man. I appreciate the call.
For sure. Take care, man.
I mean, listen, let me ask you this, Andrew. What is your thought? I mean, do you think I'm off base? Now, before I go
I couldn't agree with you more. I was going to jump in, but basically I think we're on the same page. And I like I said, I don't think Hawkinson's going to go in the top 10 picks. I just don't see it. But I love this guy. This is a guy for the Lions that would be perfect, because this isn't a guy who's going to line up just as a tight end. He's going to play some fullback. You could split him out wide. You can get extremely creative with a guy like this. I just don't see him going in the top 10.
You know, but you know what is what you just said on why he's going to be the pick, because I can, like you said, you can line him at fullback, you can line him up wide, you can put him at tight end.
Well,
That level of versatility, I think, is what you're going to see.
Well, that's another thing that I really love what the Detroit Lions are doing, especially on defense. You see a very versatile, very confusing, very physical defense, and I think they're trying to do the same thing on the offense. That's why I've been really high on the Lions.
All right, now Andrew, we got another phone call. Welcome to Luke G's Field Review. What up, doing? Who this?
What's up? It's Crimson.
Crimson, what's going on, man? I got your email, man. I'm just trying to get everything squared away in terms of times and stuff. But I got your email. We'll keep that on.
Oh yeah. It's no rush, man.
So what you got for us, Crimson?
Okay, on my end, and that guy for the whole TJ Hawkinson, yeah, I can live with or without it. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm gonna trust whatever the heck Bob Quinn picks. So far, I've liked everything he's picked so far. And if we need like a number 8 pick, plus this is the first time he's ever gotten a luxury pick the entire time he's been our GM, which is kind of a rare thing for us, mind you.
Wait a minute. Really, did you say luxury pick?
Wouldn't you say number 8 would be luxury pick?
No, you wouldn't say
number 8 would be luxury.
No, because you got to look at it. For a pick to be a luxury pick is meaning that you are taking a player that you don't need at the position, but he's so good that you're just gonna take him anyway. You need a tight end, like you need a cornerback. You know, so I don't think it's a luxury in
TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, I just think it's the most safe sound pick if you stuck at 8. I mean, who are you?
Well, if we're going to go safe on our end, we go linebacker, because the one thing Moby kept saying before was like how he was like shocked that we didn't get a linebacker at all in this free agency, which, yeah, it is kind of shocking we didn't go for a linebacker, which tells me we're definitely getting a linebacker. If not,
now let me ask you this. Let me ask you this: if the linebacker is to pick, and this kind of segues into the couch potato general manager Drew, where he says Khalil Hodge had a disappointing pro day. I was hurting, but still love him though. Yeah, that pro day didn't mean nothing to me, Drew. I still would take Khalil Hodge. Vontaze Burfict had a horrible pro day and a horrible combine, and I think he's a phenomenal player. But here's my question to you: what linebacker are they going to get that's going to be versatile enough to play inside and outside? Right, and then on top of playing inside and outside, they have to be able to rush the passer. Who's that linebacker in the first round? In the first round, God, the only guys I really like in this draft with linebackers, other than that guy from Alabama, but that guy has injury problems. I've heard. I forget his name. But I'd go either TJ Edwards if I can go for like an early linebacker, because I see a lot of potential out of that guy. I do like Edwards. I think Edwards reminds me a lot of.
Now you talking about you want to take a linebacker?
Yeah, watching the whole Will Smith movie.
Andrew. He's saying that he wants to take a linebacker at 8. And so that's the thing. Now but to me, they need to be versatile, in my opinion. And the one thing I keep going back to is this point, and is that I don't see them taking that because they want to take a lineman. And I like what Risky said. He said, I actually like it if we got Quentin Spann in free agency. I would too, because now you fill your lineman position, and the linebacker position can still be had in the second and third round. And so to me, I don't see too many linebackers who can do it. Well, Mac Wilson could. You're right, but I don't see them taking him at 8. So
yeah, and to comment on that whole Moby CJ Goodfellas,
we're not commenting on that. We're not commenting on that.
I'm not going to comment, but it's mostly on that Stafford thing, because I know you want to defend Stafford, and that's. I left a comment on his video, and basically I was like saying my 2 cents of why I say this team hasn't won. If anyone's ever noticed in the past 4 years or so we went to the playoffs, did anyone ever notice anytime we ever went to the playoffs, we went in basically gimping, bloody, messed up, nobody on the team?
I've tried to tell people. I've tried to tell people. You have Andrew, who's on the show with me, who's telling people that Stafford's a good quarterback. But when I tell people all the time that they had Stafford throw the ball 49 times with broken fingers on his throwing hand. I mean, that's
you got Stafford's got no help at all.
For you, and
then when I have people say like, oh, well, they should have never got rid of Jim Caldwell, and I go, you realize he's never had a 100-yard rusher in 4 years. We played.
One thing,
so That's food for thought.
Yeah. The one thing I've been noticing throughout all of Bob Quinn's draft picks or any free agency moves, he hasn't tried to go for names or anything like that. Everything he's really ever done is depth moves. He's trying to build a team within, because best teams, let's just say this, names will get you to the playoffs, yes. But names ain't going to win it all. Depth is what's going to win it all. Names are only there until they're hurt, because they're the ones that fall on the front line.
Generally.
Depth is what wins it all. Look at the Patriots.
Generally, yeah. I mean, and again, man, as always, Crimson, hey, check your email, because like I said, I'm working on it. But I appreciate the call, man. Thanks for calling in. You know, Andrew, he do bring up a good point, though, in terms of the linebacker position and in terms of our general manager. All right, man, be out, man. See you later, Drew. You know, oh no, he said you gotta have a role player. My bad, Drew. I misread that. That's my apologies. But he do bring up a good point about, you know, they haven't got no linebacker. You know, linebackers a need, but I also understand that they love versatility, and so you have to be able to play all three linebacker spots and be able to rush the passer. And now that's where you start to figure out, like,
well,
why
I know Roquan Smith. I know he went last year at 8, but I here's the thing: Devin White and Devin Bush. I don't think either one of them are even close to the same player as Roquan Smith. All right, I think that they're athletes, and I think they're good. They're going to be good fits. I got White going to Denver. Now keep in mind, Denver, they got their new head coach is an old school linebackers coach.
Right.
And I think Bush, he feels a need for Cincinnati, but I also think Cincinnati's going to try to trade down. But they need some help at the linebacker position. But I mean, yeah, you need a linebacker. I just don't see there's one at 8 that you really want to take unless you really, really want to roll the dice with White. And I don't think that's a good move. I think you can get a better player in the second round. You can get your boy Hodge. Unless like I said, I think you look good in a Chiefs uniform, but
I mean, again, it is not just Hodge. It's Terrell Hanks. It's Jalen Ferguson. It's so many other people who meet that versatility. Now, I got a question that came to me. It says, why Stafford hasn't been back to the Pro Bowl? Well, here's the thing. Stafford hasn't been back to the Pro Bowl because Pro Bowls are generally voted on by two separate entities. It's voted on by the fans, and it's voted on by players and coaches and other different media people. So you can easily get somebody in the Pro Bowl just like you can in the WNBA All-Star game. It's a popularity thing. And when people look at Stafford, they automatically associate Stafford to the Lions, and therefore he does not get into the Pro Bowl. But if you go through and you look at the numbers, even when he's getting cheated out the Pro Bowl, the numbers are still there for the people who was ahead of him. And a lot of the times, it's been times he made it to the Pro Bowl and said he wasn't going or wasn't playing because they didn't do anything. So, and I see Greg Gore say because Stafford is trash and that's why. But I mean, I got a video coming up about that's going to address the Matthew Stafford, because I'm going to put y'all theories to the test and we're going to find out what's really good. So.
Well, another thing I really like what the Lions are doing. Now, keep in mind, this year was the first year that he played all 16 games and he didn't throw for 4,000 yards. But I think that's a good thing. I think you really need Stafford throwing less, but he's taking advantage of the play action pass. Let him throw deep. Let the Lions run the ball a little bit, and then let Stafford throw deep. Use the play action. But
and you know what's funny, Andrew? You bring up a point that I love, because. Did you know that Detroit Lions call the play action, like they're like in the top 5 most calling play action teams, but they don't run the ball. So who are you play actioning to? And who's the guy that you're play actioning to that scares people that you need to come up for? And I was going to show, I'm still working on the video. I was going to show a video where they was going against the Jets, and we called play action 3 times and the linebackers didn't even budge.
No, that's a problem. You don't, Kerryon Johnson, he's not bad running back, but he's not somebody you're going to fear. And I think we both on the same page. I think the Lions are going to draft a running back somewhere, and there's going to be some good running backs in the mid rounds that are going to be available for the Lions. But
right.
Yeah, I remember watching that game, and I remember thinking, man, what the hell are you doing? But one thing though about Matt Patricia, he's a smart coach. He's really going to turn this offense around. It's going to be an interesting year for the Lions.
Again, we are on with Andrews Football, a fellow YouTuber. His channel is linked in my description. Please check it out. And we're just talking a little football and in general, getting the outside perspective on our Detroit Lions. Now, let me ask you this, though, Andrew, because I'm seeing a lot of people who are saying things like Stafford, 10 years, though, 10 years. And I keep trying to explain to people, you cannot count Stafford's first 2 years in the league. And I tried to break it down to him, and I'm going to probably do a video about that, too, because you just can't do it. And I first black man on the net, he said with Kerryon Johnson, it'll be fair soon. Oh yeah, they're gonna respect it this year because we're gonna run it. But I keep seeing people talk about it, and I tell people if you include in the first 3 seasons of Aaron Rodgers, his numbers are grossly worse. If you take those 3 years out, his numbers are substantially amazing. And I try to explain to people that you can't count the first 2 seasons because he got hurt in both seasons.
I also think that Jim Caldwell is a horrible hire. I did not like that hire. I did not like that hire. And what he tried to do, and then this is also interesting, Matt Patricia wants to do completely the opposite of what Caldwell did. Caldwell wanted speed. He wanted to throw the ball over the place. He didn't want to add talent to the offensive line. And then they didn't have talent they had some good wide receivers, because he had Calvin Johnson for a few years, of course, arguably the best receiver in our generation. But, they wanted to win games like he did with Indianapolis and Peyton Manning. And I thought that was a huge mistake.
Right. And here's the thing. I got another question. They says, we got CJ Anderson now, and who would you add to that, Luke? Quentin Spann, the guard? Because anything you add to the offensive line at this point, that's our biggest hole on top of the linebacker.
I'll tell you what, if you end up getting Spann, though, I'm going to change my mock draft. I might even change it to Hawkinson. I might join on board with you, but I think we both in agreement that we don't like the Lions to stay at 8.
Right. Yeah. I've said this from the get that I want them to trade out. I noticed that Drew from the Couch Potato General Managers, he says Butch will make an immediate impact more so than White. I totally agree with that because at least I see Bush wrap up in his tackles. I don't know what White be doing. And one of the things that scares me about Devin White was even when I watched film I'm like, you just keep hitting people high and you get your feelings hurt. And then even when I did film study on the linebacker from Texas, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, Johnson, but he was hitting up high, and even in one of my clips, I showed him just get barreled over. And when I'm watching Devin White get stiff turned to the ground by quarterbacks, I'm like, what's wrong? How are you getting muscle?
You got to realize White is an athlete. And someone's going to fall in love with that potential, but right now you got more athlete than player.
Right. I think he's still raw. Greg Gore says Spann just a Band-Aid for that O-line. I disagree. I think if you get Spann, he can be a anchor for years to come. I think when you look at some of the best years he had with the Tennessee Titans, they was running that power zone run, and it was working with him. Where he gets some suspect at is he is so big, he doesn't do a lot of pulling. When he do pull, he's not always, getting home fast enough. So I think that's where you see that part of it at. But
yeah, well, I'm gonna hit up here. Listen, Top Dog, I'm gonna throw this out there. I don't know how far they're not trading down to the 20s. I think a perfect place for Detroit to trade would be with Miami. They got the connection.
You're right. You're right. And it's so funny you say that because if you look at it, Miami traded Tannehill to the Titans, right? Mm-hmm. So they totally in need of some picks.
They need a quarterback, and I don't think they can get much higher than 8. They only got, if I remember right, 6 draft picks. So the draft capital Miami has limited, but this just makes a ton of sense. I mean, both of them know each other from the New England days, and they need a quarterback.
Now, Risky says, what's his channel? His channel is called Andrews Football. And if you're referring to Drew is him, and it's another group of guys, man. They do a really good job. I love their channel. It's called the Couch Potato General Manager. If I'm saying that wrong, Drew, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that I got the name and title right because I am subscribed to him. So I do rock with them. and I love what they do. But if you're wondering about Andrew's channel is in my description. It's called Andrew's Football. And he talks all 32 teams, and he talks gambling if you're into that gambling thing. And so that's there. Now, Greg Gore says that Span is not that good. That's why he's still a free agent. Well, one of the reasons Span is still a free agent is because Span is a scheme fit player like 90% of the league. And you have to be able to see where he fits this. It says, "Yo, Luke, when did I block you so I can undo it?" I didn't know I was blocked, Mobby, but I keep on forgetting it is April Fool's Day. Y'all see y'all, boy. Y'all.
Hey man, I want to hit something that Ted put in real fast, and I got to ask you guys because I love the pick at the time. What's wrong with Jared Davis? What's wrong with this kid? Because when I saw they drafted him and Tease Tabor, I'm like, man, this is some good picks. And what's wrong with these guys? These guys injured? Are they in the wrong scheme? You know what?
You know what it is? I think what you're seeing is this. When Jared Davis first came here, they gave him a Band-Aid D-line. They gave him Haloti Nada. And what they did was they just told him to try to make plays. And what you saw was he was constantly having to fight through second-level linemen being in his face. You know, they wasn't able to keep those guys at bay. Then all of a sudden he gets Snacks Harris. And when he gets Snacks Harris, he was making more plays. And I'm like, this is what happened when you got somebody who demands the attention so he can roam free. So I think that's what you're seeing with Jared Davis. Mobby, I'll hit you up. But I didn't know I was blocked, bro. I didn't know that at all. So this is news to me.
Know. Yeah, you're trashing Davis here. You know, I'm asking because when I first saw that he was drafted, I thought this was a perfect fit for the Lions. And I'm asking you guys, I'm asking Lions fans why this guy hasn't made more plays. Why haven't I heard more of him? And by the way, CPGM Drew, I'm going to hit you up. I'm going to subscribe to your channel. I can't wait to see what you're doing.
Oh man, listen, the Couch Potato general managers, man. It's what I love about it is it's similar to how we do our Detroit Lions roundtable, but they are generally just one whole group. You know, they're one whole group and they're addressing different things. And like I said, we've been in discussions to do some collaborations and stuff like that. So that, you know, hopefully we can get that squared away and get it fixed. But yeah, they do a really good job of addressing all 32 teams, and you got like 5 guys there with different perspectives. So I really enjoy what they do. And like I said, anybody who comes in, I'm always willing to put them on. So, you know, he can't cover a bed. I'm a Florida Gator. Now listen, I'm not gonna knock you. I'm not gonna act like his cover skills is top notch, but I think the biggest issue for him was he didn't have no protection up front. You know, you get Snacks Harris, and then that's when you get that love going. So and that's really where you at. Now let me ask you this. Because I'm confused about, in terms of the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm confused about what do you think is the reason they got rid of Justin Houston? They don't got rid of Marcus Peters. They don't got rid of Eric Berry, D Ford. The list goes on. What do you think the reason is?
Andy Reid, what he's doing is something that a lot of teams are doing, and we're not trying to throw out the 85 Bears. All right. We're not trying to have a great defense. We're just trying to get in the middle of the pack because our offense, I mean, what do you want to do? We got 2 legitimate number 1 receivers.
Right.
Arguably the best tight end in football. Mahomes MVP. Just all the talent in the world.
Right.
And now I'm gonna let you in on those secrets. You know the number 1 thing about Patrick Mahomes, most Chiefs fans don't even know. You know what the number 1 thing about him is?
What's that?
He got a photographic memory. One of the smartest people that you'll ever meet. The guy is just a genius. And what the Chiefs are going to do is they're going to say, hey, you know what? We're going to put up 35 a game. We're just going to try to hold you at around 2024. But the new defense that Spagnuolo is bringing in is going to be revolved around our best player, and that's Chris Jones. Guy had a sack in 11 straight games. It's an NFL record. And bottom line, this new defense that we're running, D Ford, we had some issues with D Ford. D Ford, hey, guy can rush the passer as good as anybody. Guy doesn't really like to tackle. You know, you don't like to tackle. You watch the Patriots run all over us.
Right.
They knew how to beat us. And Justin Houston, he's one of my favorite players. But man, once he got that $100 million contract, that really weighed him down. And that happens. I mean, that happens.
Now, I know that one of the things that that jump out to me right away, and that I noticed with them when they were making all these moves, I just kept thinking about that contract for Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm hearing that if this stuff blow over with Tyreek Hill, I'm hearing that he finna get a huge payday too.
Oh, the Chiefs were about ready to give him Odell Beckham money. And then that was their number one thing. They're going to sign Tyreek Hill. He was getting ready to get a 5-year, $95 million deal.
Okay.
Then this came out, and now the Chiefs are like, well, hold up. Because hold up. I'm going to let you in on a secret. If you're an NFL player and you fire your agent midseason and you hire Drew Rosenhaus, you're going to get paid. All right, you're going to get paid. But now this all happened. That's all all out the window.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. Let's see, what did he say? So Mobby says Jared Davis has played in 3 different defenses in 3 years, and he's learned 2 different positions in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. I mean, that plays a huge part into it too. And then
CPGM, you're 100% correct. Bob Sutton, Chiefs fans wanted Sutton gone before the start of this year. So when New England ran all over us, we had to get rid of him. Steve Spagnuolo, he was the guy who beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl with that 4-3 race car defense. We're going to do the same thing because right now the Kansas City Chiefs, we're not worried about the AFC West. We already won that 3 times in a row. We have one opponent.
I mean, we cocky much. I mean, I can't say much, can I?
This is the truth. We got one opponent right now, and that's the New England Patriots. That's just how it is. And that's just how it is because this offense is just going to get better. We shouldn't be putting up the same amount of points. Mahomes shouldn't be throwing for over 5,000 yards. We need to run the ball a little more. We need to take a page out of Matt Patricia's book. We need to get a little more physical here. But
here's an interesting stat that I saw. So they did this stat and they put it up and they showed the quarterbacks who threw the ball 530 times or more were shown to have a record of 8-8 or less. Every single time. You
nailed it. You nailed it. And that's why I love what Detroit's doing because they're trying to throw the ball less. You got a good quarterback, and now you're trying to build up that defense. And now you're trying to add pieces on offense. I love what the Detroit Lions are doing. That's one of the main reasons I want to come on this show is because, hey, look, I think the Lions are one of the best teams to bet on if you're looking at the over-under because that over-under right now started at 7. I'm no offense to all you guys in Detroit, man. Vegas hates you.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't just Vegas; it's the whole entire media. I mean, when the Lions beat the Patriots, the whole story was what's wrong with the Patriots.
That you know what? That is 100% correct. And I'm not in Detroit. I'm here in Kansas City, and we heard that. It was like, what's wrong with New England? No, you're 100% correct. So I think the Lions, if you're a betting man, you want to put some action out in the NFL. The Lions are one of the top teams to bet on. How do I get info on betting? You know, I recommend you go down to Vegas, have some fun. That's what I'm going to try to do.
Well, I think his question is more so like, do you know of any online betting areas, or is there any tactics you can use to betting?
There's some sites, and I'm not going to advertise any because I don't use them. One of the things is that if I don't use it, I'm not going to tell you to use it.
And that's a good practice to have.
That's a good practice. But the gambling across the country is, as a matter of fact, they even had it in Pennsylvania.
Now, listen, you get some people who coming at you. They say you better watch out for the Raiders and you better watch out for the Chargers.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Chargers are for real. The Chargers are for real.
Yeah, if I'm the Chiefs, I wouldn't be worried about the Raiders. I mean, they literally are picking up all old players, and this is one of the reasons why I didn't want John Gruden here in Detroit. They did the same thing to the Buccaneers. I mean, they literally just added Brandon Marshall, and they just keep on picking up old player at the old player.
They got oh man, what's the guy's name? He got in all sorts of trouble in Cincinnati. And I don't get why they picked him up because that guy's good if you're playing a physical team. But look at the teams you're playing against. You're playing against Phillip Rivers. You're playing against Patrick Mahomes. You need fast linebackers that can cover athletic tight ends and wide receivers. So, I mean, we fear the Chargers. I guess I got a little cocky here. I'm saying our number one because let me be clear here. The Kansas City Chiefs are a Super Bowl or bust. We don't win the Super Bowl, it's a bad year. Yes, Brissett. I actually really love him out of Arizona State. I feel embarrassed. I forgot his name here, but he's not a guy that really fits in the AFC West. The AFC West is a finesse division. You got quarterbacks, you got wide receivers, you got athletic tight ends. That's one thing about the this is why I don't want to play Detroit early in the year, because Detroit's going to come out and they're going to punch us right in the mouth.
And I think that's the thing that people don't realize is, even when I go back to last year's games, man, there were so many games where I'm like, why are we not using our running backs? Why are we not getting that ball going? That's why I got so many videos coming that it's just hard. Again, I do work that 9 to 5, so it does get a little challenging.
I feel you.
Yeah, but
Now there goes Mobley. The NFL schedule has not been released yet. That's going to be in a couple of weeks from now. I think it's April. I want to say 14th or 17th.
We got a few more weeks. What they generally do is they try to keep the fans enticed by giving us each piece by piece. So we are not sure when we play the Chiefs, but I do know we play the Chiefs. And I think they're gonna release that schedule just a little bit after the draft, so we won't know. Yeah, but if we play them later, it's going to be real bad. It's going to be real bad, because it's going to be. I'm going
to tell you something. As much as I love my Chiefs, if I'm able to, I'm putting action on the Lions early in the year, because the Chiefs are going to be favored. The Chiefs are going to be favored early in the year, even though it's in Detroit, and I think Detroit will win that game. I really, really do.
And it's funny because I think that I noticed that they're having a conversation about the defense in the chat, and Ted bring up a good point that the Patriots defense are usually slow starters. They usually are, and it's when they pick up at the right time that sparks everything.
One of the things that I really like is that they're adding Patriots players, because one thing about Matt Patricia is that he wants to run a complex defense where most teams are playing checkers, he's playing chess. And Andy Reid does the same thing on offense,
right?
But I don't see that on the offensive side. I think he's doing that old school techno bowl where he got 8 plays, 4 runs, 4 passes. But that defense is going to be very, very complicated, and that's something that I don't want to see early in the year.
Okay, but let me ask you this though, because like I said, the phone lines are open. People, I had to clear them a few times because this system is terrible. But that phone number is 248-294-0610. So if you want to call in, because we're getting a little bit closer to the end. But Andrew, I want to talk about this because you are outsider looking in, so you're seeing everything from a different perspective. You don't have no investment in this team, because you obviously are a Kansas City Chiefs fan. My question to you is this, okay? The Kansas City Chiefs are starting to come up. They're making some good moves. I don't know what's going on the defense, but I think that Drew from the Couch Potato general managers make a very good point. What do you think about y'all switching from that 3-4 to a 4-3? And is there a defense you prefer better?
The only thing I really have a problem with is that we used every player except for our last pick, which is 6th round, which is ironically the Raiders' old general manager's grandson. So that was kind of funny, but we used our whole draft on defensive players that fit a 3-4. So now we got to move those guys around. So I was a little disappointed that we're switching to a 4-3, because we basically got to add players through free agency. The players that we drafted really don't fit a 4-3. So I'm a little frustrated because our first 2 picks are perfect 3-4 players.
And I noticed that. I don't know why he waited to now. You know what? I know why he did it, because when you go back to that game against the New England Patriots, y'all just had holes at the holes at the holes.
Man, I was so mad because I'm sitting up in the stands and they're not even throwing the ball. I mean, they're basically, they're just running, and it's not even outside runs. They're just pounding right up the middle. And we weren't able to do anything. So I understand the logic of going to a 4-3, because what we did is it didn't work. So we got to do something different. And I really love that we're building pieces through free agency, because like I said before, we're not going to build for 2019 through the draft. We're not drafting a player and saying, okay, you're going to be our day one starter on defense.
Right.
Chiefs fans don't get that.
No, and it makes sense to me. It do make sense to me, from the standpoint that some people are drafting for the future, but I think the Lions need to be a team that draft right now.
I 100% believe that whoever the Lions draft, and me and you both think they're going to trade down. Even if they trade down, they're going to get somebody who can help them this year.
Now, hold on. Let me see. It says, Frank Lucas says, Luke, answer the question. What's the question? I'm not sure. Did I miss the question, Frank? Like, I must have missed the question, so I don't know.
The money is Padford gone or not?
Oh, I see it.
Oh, I get that, man. You get hey, Stafford's not going anywhere, man. They're going to build a team around him.
You had to look at his contract, and I think if he was going to get released, it would not happen until I think the biggest opportunity for them to move on from Stafford would be, I think it's 2020 or 2021. I got to go back and look at it. I don't have it right off the nine, but yeah, when you follow the money right now, if they release him, you're taking a $39 million hit. Who's doing that? I mean,
no, they're definitely going to keep him, and I think that they're great. I think they're very happy with Stafford.
Right.
I think that they're doing everything right. As an outsider looking in, I love what the Lions are doing.
I do too. I think the thing is, and Frank Lucas, I am going to do a video on that as well. But I think that many people don't realize that they don't realize that the Lions are making some strides that you should be excited about. We got a call coming in. What up, though? You on Luke G's Fear Review? Who this?
It's your boy, there goes Mobby.
Mobby, what up, though, man? What's going on, man?
I just wanted to answer. What was his face? Frank
Lucas?
Yeah, he said follow the money. Is Stafford gone or not? Right.
Right.
All right. This is basically how the best way I can probably tell you guys this. With the way that the Lions are restructuring or backloading these contracts, the amount of guys that they had on short year deals that they re-signed to longer year deals or 3 or 4 year deals, at some point it's going to come a time where the Lions got to make a choice between keeping the defense or keeping the quarterback. But it's not as simple as everybody try to make it. Like, me personally, I feel like Stafford has about 3 years left in Detroit unless a Super Bowl happens. Once you win the Super Bowl, then you can be like Eli Manning. You can sit up and not win for, as long as you want to suck as bad as you want. But I think, like, honestly, if it comes to a point where if the defense does come into its own as a top 4 defense, you see guys like Tracy Walker, Bloom, they do something with T. Tabor, hopefully, maybe. The defensive line stays strong. You get snacks for 3 more years. You might get a replacement coming up. If all of these things happen, I do not think with the way Patricia talks as far as him wanting to run the ball and play stout defense, that they would choose keeping Stafford over the defense. But if that doesn't work and they fail anyway, everybody's getting fired and we're starting all over. So that's why they've done it how they've done it. These guys are going all in. They're pushing their chips to the table right now and saying we are in win now mode. You can see it with the C.J. Anderson signing. They got Trey Flowers to come in and take $6 million in his first year, which is unheard of for the top defensive end of free agency.
That was impressive. I'm still impressed that they managed to get basically 4 players for $13 million for the first season. So
unheard of.
I mean, I just knew there was going to be an $18 million per year markup.
And I would have hated the signing too. I would have hated the signing.
But here's the thing: you said that Stafford got at least another 3 years. So I just happened to pull up his contract, and when I pull up his contract, if they were to release Stafford this year, they take a $55 million cap hit, and if they release him next year, they take a $26 million cap hit to save basically save $5.5 million. So the earliest I can see them really getting rid of Matthew Stafford is 2020. Where they'll take a $10 million cap hit and then they'll save $20 million. So he's going to be here.
I don't think there's a way in hell they cut Matthew Stafford.
Well, they have two options. They have that 2021 year and they have that 2022 year. If they wait till he turns 34 in that 2022 year, they don't get no cap hit and they get 23 million straight cash. So they,
if Stafford was the lead, I would think it would come through trade whenever the dead money would become the lowest.
The lowest dead money comes in 2022. That's where it's zero. The second lowest is 2021. So if
That's what I said about 3 years.
Yes, yeah.
That's
So
what I said about 3 years.
Yeah, so if they did cut him, it's going to be a while. I do know that. I do know that people may think that I know they may think that it's going to happen ASAP. Stafford's not going nowhere. The contract it permits it from happening. And then two, like I tell everybody when they ask me, well, when are you going to be critical of Stafford? I say I'll be critical when you give him the same stuff you gave these other quarterbacks, and then I'll be critical.
Let me jump in here. Let me.
I love
okay, hold on, Andrew.
I love Stafford. But what I will say is Patricia. I mean, it all comes down to whose side was Matt Patricia on in New England when it came time to say, all right, are we keeping Tom Brady or are we going with Jimmy Garoppolo? Because I feel like if Matt Patricia was more on the side of going, all right, I'm with you, Bill. I would much rather have Garoppolo so we can re-sign some of my guys on defense and we don't got to trade them and we ain't got to be cutting guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then if he was on the Tom Brady side, then I could kind of feel like, all right, Matthew Stafford might even retire here or something. But when you have a defensive coach, I don't know if the defense clicks, if his guys are clicking and it gets time to pay his guys or just play the quarterback, especially when you got Kerryon Johnson, who projects to be one of the top 5, top 7 running backs in the NFL. I don't know. I don't think he chooses the quarterback over the rest of the team. And that is ultimately the smartest move. But I think pushing all the chips to the table like they're doing right now for this 3 to 4 year span right here, because they only got 5 years on their contracts respectively. So pushing all their chips to the table right now and saying we're going for a 3-year plan, I think it can pan out for us. You know what I'm saying? This is my thing. And I know I was kind of long-winded.
No, man. No, it's like I said, it's all good, man. I appreciate the phone call. Again, I didn't know I was blocked on your channel. So if you were serious, it's not an April Fool joke. It's news. It's news to me. But I appreciate the call, man. And I'm gonna let Andrew answer some of the questions too, because he got an insight, and I appreciate the call, man.
All right.
Yep. Andrew, go ahead, man. You said you got something you want to add.
Oh, man. Hey, I just wanted to say, man, that was a great call. And I think you nailed the point. Is what side was he on? Was he on the side that he wanted Garoppolo, or was he on the side that they wanted Brady? And here's the thing. If you look at where he came from, Brady been the quarterback there since 2001. And one staple of the Patriots is that you leave the quarterback alone. Everybody else is fair game. And right. I really think that they're going to follow that blueprint in Detroit. I think they're going to leave Stafford alone, but everybody else is fair game to go. And I really think that they're going to bring that same type of philosophy to Detroit. And that's another thing I think about when I look how New England how do he handle where from his previous team, Brady's the staple. Everybody else is all over the place, but he had a good point. Was he under the philosophy that, hey, it's Garoppolo's time? If that's the case, then maybe after a couple of years they do move from Stafford. But I'm thinking that he was on the same side as Bill Belichick. Hey, we're going to keep Brady there. We're going to get a good backup. We're going to try to get some draft picks for him. But I think Stafford's going to stay there. I think he's going to stay longer than 3 years too.
I mean, again, like I said, I think if they get to running the ball, you'll see more success out of the quarterback. Period.
Oh, 100%.
And I know that Frank Lucas said that he saw something that if they cut him, let me try to read this right. If they cut him before the preseason start, it's just $10 million cap hit. No, in fact, he's entitled to this year alone. He gets a. Okay, so basically what happens is his base salary is at $13.5 million. He gets a early bonus of $10 million. He gets another roster bonus of $5.5 million, and then he gets a workout bonus of $500,000. So that's how you come up to your $55 million. If they were
going to get to replace him.
Here's the thing.
Who out there available that better than Stafford?
And that's the question I keep asking people. I keep asking them who you replace them with, but nobody can give me an answer. But I think the thing that people don't realize is the contracts are set in such a way that if they cut him, he is still guaranteed a certain amount of money that he's going to get. So he's got until, in my opinion, at least 2021 at the earliest if they were going to move on from him. But I think he's going to probably end up playing his contract out unless he restructure it. And I don't see that happening because his contract puts him in the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks at this point. So I don't see that changing either. But I'm with you, man. I don't know who they're going to do this with. Who are you going to replace him with? And then here's the thing. I saw a question earlier, like, is there any chance that Connor Cook starts? 0. If Stafford gets hurt.
No, there's 0 chance of Connor Cook. As a matter of fact, I really liked him out of Michigan State. He was in Oakland for just a second, and they were like, hey, we want nothing to do with this kid. He looked like a deer in headlights. And some guys are like that. Some guys look good in college. You put them on the NFL, and they just freeze. And unfortunately, that's what I think you're getting with Connor Cook.
Right, and I totally get it. I mean, again, we got Andrew's Football on here. His channel is linked in my description. If you want to, ask some questions about fantasy, you want to find out about some gambling or some betting, you want to check out his channel, or if you just want to see what the other 32 teams is doing, please check out Andrew's Football. Andrew, I don't want to, I'm gonna end it shortly because, like I said, we've been going for a minute. You got anything you want to add or anything you want to tell? Or better yet, put a plug in for your channel, man. Let them know what you can expect from Andrew's Football. I'm gonna tell
you something right now here. I do all 32 teams. Mainly, I'm a Chiefs fan, but it's Andrew's Football, all one word. I'm gonna break down all 32 teams once the over-unders get released. Now, there was an over-under release on ESPN, but I like using Westgate. Westgate's an app to use all over the world. Once that breaks down, all 32 teams over-unders, I'm going to do 32 shows on over-under. I'm going to talk about who I like, who I don't like. And I'm going to tell you this right now. One of the teams I can already tell you I like is the Detroit Lions. I'm very high on the Lions this year. I think that they're a team that could really sneak into the playoffs. And here's the thing, I'm not a fan. I'm over here in Kansas, and I'm telling you right now, if you're a Lions fan, buckle up because you're going to have a fun season.
I mean, it is, and again, I just want to thank you for coming on, man, because like I said, it gives us a chance to talk to an outside source, and to kind of get a different perspective as well as collab, and plus, we're going to be back on this thing again because the Kansas City Chiefs do play the Lions this year. So we're going to get our breakdowns based on what we see in the spec.
And I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's later in the year, but
see, I'm hoping it's much earlier. I want to get them hard games over with so we can go ahead and take that out the way. And these are the things that I'm hoping for, that they can find a way to remedy some of those problems. But man, this was fun to do with you, man. Again, I really do love what you're doing over there. Please go and subscribe to his channel, especially if you are into that arena of trying to find out what all 32 teams is doing and you want to ask questions about betting. Please hit up his channel. I think you will really enjoy it. But outside of that, what I want to leave you with is go green, go white. Thank God they beat Duke, so I'm excited for Michigan State. Detroit Lions have signed running back C.J. Anderson to a one-year deal, and he is not a camp body, ladies and gentlemen. He was a need that was there. He's a rental player. But again, as always, ladies and gentlemen, before I leave off, this is outside of football, and I just want to do this, that sometimes we take life too serious and take it for granted, and we miss the small things. And we had somebody who was doing things big for the community in Nipsey Hussle. So RIP to Nipsey Hussle. And listen, people, nothing should get this serious that we're doing stuff like this. So as always, when I end my channel, I'm going to end it on a more sobering note, but with the same facts. Please don't be no chump. Please do your research.